Megan Ginevicz. Megan was last seen in St. Ignatius, Montana in the early afternoon hours of April 30th, 1980. She was playing with her brother in the yard, which was unfenced. Her home was located in a remote wooded area of the region. She disappeared from the yard while her mother was inside doing chores and was never seen again. Her father believes that someone kidnapped her because they wanted a child to raise, and that because she was only 2 years old at the time, she may not realize she was kidnapped. Investigators, however, do not believe that Megan was abducted. There was only one road in and out from the house in 1980. Neighbors did not see any strangers or any suspicious vehicles in the area. The police believe she wandered off and drowned in a nearby stream or was attacked by a wild animal such as grizzly bear. The weather was problematic at that time. It both rained and snowed for 10 days after she disappeared. If she had been left exposed to the elements, she would not have survived very long. An extensive search of the St. Ignatius area turned up no sign of her. Her mother had just moved to the area after getting divorced. Her mother was working as a nanny for a family in exchange for room and board. Megan's father lived in Colorado at the time, and he came to Montana to assist in the search for her. There is no indication that either of her parents harmed her in any way or were to blame for her going missing. Law enforcement does not believe that Megan was harmed by either of her parents. Due to the lack of evidence in Megan's case, it is classified as a non-family abduction. There have been 2 age-progressed images generated of what Megan might look like today. If she is still alive, she would be 42 years old. If you have any information about Megan's disappearance, please call the number on your screen. Angela Sigrid Ramsey. Angie was an independent, well-behaved child. She was 16 years old in 1977 when she hitchhiked from her home in South Carolina, riding with truckers until she reached DeLand, Florida. Her father was in the Army, and as a result, she had friends across the United States. One of her friends worked at the motel she was staying at, leading her to choose to stay there. A friend of hers stayed at the Boulevard Motel on Woodland Boulevard in DeLand. She had befriended a worker at the motel who helped her stay there. She was reported missing on June 21st when she failed to show up for a dinner date with a man she had met there. Police searched her motel room and discovered all of her personal belongings, such as her clothes and jewelry, were still there, along with a photo of her and the man she had just met, taken by Angie at the motel's swimming pool. Investigators also discovered a letter that Angela had written to her friend in South Carolina, but had not mailed. It was stated that she missed Columbia and her mother. Authorities questioned the man who reported Angela missing and have stated that he is not considered a suspect in her case. He also found her room key, which he handed over to the police. Angela was born in 1961. She was 5'3" and weighed about 115 pounds at the time of her disappearance. At that time, she had dark blonde hair and brown eyes. She went by the nickname Angie. She is considered an endangered missing with foul play suspected in her disappearance. If she were alive today, she would be 59 years old. Timothy John Barnes. Tim Barnes was 24 in July of 1988 when he was a resident of Cucamonga, California. He had planned a day hike from the Murphy Creek Trailhead to Polydome Lakes in Yosemite National Park. He was expected to return by 4:30 p.m. that day, but he never showed up, and no one has ever heard from him again. Tim was 6'4" and 180 pounds at the time he went missing. He was wearing a white shirt with a letter F with a line through it. He was carrying a yellow day pack, and so far none of his clothing have turned up either. He had brown hair and brown eyes. He usually wore a mustache or a goatee. He has a blue discoloration on his upper lip and a wart on the right side of his nose. His teeth appeared grayish in color, and he has an orthopedic pin implanted in his left ankle. Tim smoked Marlboro cigarettes at the time of his 1988 disappearance. Barnes's friends reported him as a missing person to park rangers the following morning. An extensive search of the surrounding area failed to produce any evidence of his whereabouts. Barnes was declared legally dead on July 19, 1990, 2 years after his disappearance. His body has never been found. If he is alive today, he would be 57 years old. Adam Hecht. Adam Hecht was a fortunate young man. He was born into a close-knit family in Beverly Hills in 1965 to a successful Academy Award-winning Hollywood movie producer. He led a charmed life that sometimes left him feeling a little guilty for his good fortune. He was an outgoing young man who had a lot of friends. He drove a BMW and in general was living a successful life. About a year before he disappeared, he began dealing with an existential crisis of sorts. He was frustrated with what he viewed as elitism. He was cognizant that not everyone had the advantages that he was born with. He's described as having a huge heart, and he felt sympathy for those who suffered around him. In order to help deal with these feelings, he began volunteering at a mission in Los Angeles. He began spending time on the streets, even bringing food to the homeless. His family was aware that Adam was struggling with the difficulty that he saw in the homeless communities, but was unable to help him with his inner turmoil that he was trying to cope with. It was at this time that Adam befriended a homeless man. Adam invited the man to stay at his apartment in hopes of giving him a chance to improve his life. His family saw this new roommate as troubled, and they were somewhat worried about the time Adam was spending with him. His brother was unable to reach Adam for a few days and went to go see Adam. The roommate answered the door, drunk, and Adam didn't appear to be home. The roommate refused to allow Adam's brother inside. Other family members tried to talk to the roommate to get information about Adam's whereabouts, but he was either unable or unwilling to provide any of that information. In addition to Adam not being home, his BMW was also missing. The family reported him missing, and the police evicted the roommate from the apartment. Approximately a month after Adam went missing, his car was located. It was abandoned on a side of a street in Beverly Hills, not all that far from his apartment. The keys were still in the ignition, as was Adam's wallet, $600 in cash, and all of his credit cards. The car was covered in debris and had parking tickets. It appeared to have been there the entire time that he was missing. There is no indication that if Adam met with foul play or if he purposely disappeared. Adam is 5'11", he has brown hair and hazel eyes. He would be 55 if he is alive today. If you know anything about his disappearance, please contact the number on your screen. Sofia Juarez. It was the day before her 5th birthday in 2003 at 9 p.m. that Sofia was last seen leaving her home with $1 in her pocket to follow her grandmother's boyfriend to a nearby store. The grandmother's boyfriend was unaware that Sofia was following him, and Sofia never made it to the store. At 9:45 p.m., the boyfriend returned from the store saying Sofia had not gone with him. Her mother, Maria, called the authorities reporting her daughter missing. 18 years later, Sofia is still missing at her home from Kennewick, Washington. Police immediately treated Sofia's disappearance as an abduction. An Amber Alert was issued, but was canceled 36 hours later because Sofia had not been located. Police still believe that Sofia has been abducted. Sofia's photo has been age progressed to 17 years. According to the police, Sofia was at home playing with her young aunts and uncles on the night of her disappearance. That's when cops say her grandmother's boyfriend asked the children if they wanted to come with him to the store. But when the children declined the offer, he went to the store alone by himself. Police believe that Sofia changed her mind at the last minute and started making her way to the store on foot. Sofia never made it. Today, the search for her continues. The Washington State Patrol Missing and Unidentified Persons Unit, in collaboration with Camway Transportation, will feature Sofia's picture on the side of their homeward-bound trucks. Despite their grief, Sofia's family still finds ways to keep her memory alive. Her siblings, now adults, have passed her belongings down to their children to help them learn about their aunt. A 10-year-old relative of Sofia's later told police that he had seen her walking down the driveway with a man wearing all black and a black t-shirt, pants, and shoes, but the sighting was never confirmed. In May of 2003, a tip came in that a 1990s faded orange panel van with a license plate of a double J and some numbers was involved in her abduction. The driver was described as a white male, possibly 35 to 40 years old, with a thick blonde beard. A witness recalled seeing the van in the neighborhood around the time Sofia was last seen leaving her home, but the van was never connected to her abduction. Over the years, there have been rumors as to what happened to Sofia. One rumor was that Sofia was abducted by someone she knew and is living in Mexico. Another said that Sofia was abducted by a stranger and was immediately killed. The search was extended to Mexico, but nothing came of it. If Sofia is alive today, she would be 22 years old. If you have any information on Sofia's abduction, please call the number on your screen. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Please take care of each other and stay safe out there.